Hello, welcome to this session of setting up a PMO or a project management office. Many organizations do not have a project or a program management office. The result of that you can see in the quality of the deliverables. Such organizations do not have a consistent approach in project or program management process. They do not have consistent templates and documents which the organization follows to execute a process. There is no consistent life cycle which the organization follows, and there is no way to measure the success of the project in terms of the quality of the deliverables. Now, remember one thing: anytime you are not able to measure anything, you cannot work on improving the quality of that particular item. So, in today's session, I will share with you from my experience the needs of a PMO. Why do we need to set up a project or a program management office? And then some short term steps which you can embrace as an organization while you start thinking big about setting up the PMO for your business unit or for your organization. So, what is a PMO? A PMO is a project management office, and sometimes it is also merged with a program management office. It comprises a group of project or program managers who follow consistent project or program management approach for execution of their projects or programs. They follow standard processes, standard templates, brings in the lessons learned or best practices from several other projects, and they work towards continuous improvement of the processes in the organization in terms of project and program execution. Now, the next question which I have for you is, why do you need a PMO? Well, if you ask me this question, I will ask you a few more. Do you have a central pool of project and program managers? Do they follow the same project management processes? Do they follow the same set of checklists or documents? Or is it that each of them has their own templates? Each of them follows the life cycle in a way they think it is the best. What about risk management and mitigation? Do all your project and program managers have the same method of risk escalation, risk documentation? What about you guys storing all this information in a project management tool? Do you have that? Do you measure the success of the project in terms of whether it was on time, whether it adhered to the schedule, cost, scope? Are you auditing the work which the project managers are doing? If not, then I would seriously recommend the need of having a project management office to bring the discipline into the project management practices. Before you make your PMO go live, you need to set up a framework. The framework will comprise of certain inputs and outputs. As a PMO lead, you should be aware of the input or the functionalities which you want your PMO to execute. The output or the outcome is what the outcome people will see coming out of the PMO. Now, some of the inputs or some of the functionalities which a PMO should be responsible for are: do you have a project management tool. If you don't, this should be the first thing on your agenda. You should set up a project or a program management tool, which should be a repository for all project documents. It will document the dates, risks, and status of all the projects. You have to set up a project management methodology. You can have a SDLC, a software development lifecycle, or agile, or a hybrid model, but you need to know which are the categories of project you want to execute under SDLC, which are the projects you want to do under agile, and which are the ones you want to do in a hybrid model. So the PMO functionalities should have a set of processes which will define the category of projects. You should come up with a training and a mentoring plan for all new project managers onboarded. This should be not only a one time process but a continuous process so that you can continuously skill the project managers. A project management office should also have a capacity planning method. When I talk about capacity planning method, it means a way to track the capacity of the project managers, see how much time they are available to take up the next project. You can either do it in a project management tool or you can do it in a simple Excel sheet wherein you can plug the projects, you can see how much capacity they are occupied for and how much is available. And this not only you can do for project or program managers, you can do for all resources. There should also be a way to report the status of the projects. So each project manager, suppose, is managing 4 to 5 projects. He should have a same way of reporting as the other project manager and give the data with respect to the project status to the overall PMO lead. This enables the PMO lead to keep track of all the projects which is being managed in the portfolio, keep track of all the risks and see if there is any need of escalation, and of course see what else can be done to improve the project execution in future days. All the assets which are being created should be stored in a central repository. Every project might have some generic assets which all the projects are using, and there might be some assets which should be common to unique, not common, unique to that particular project. So if you can consolidate those assets and keep it for use, it will help the future project managers. This being the set of inputs, we know what to expect from the project management office when you set up this process or when you set up all the things we just discussed. So obviously the projects would be better managed, the risks will be better planned, consistent methodology across all projects. Your project managers will be groomed. The stakeholders will be informed about what the projects are doing or what is the status of the projects, how the projects are doing, and what is the status of the project. Projects should adhere to all the processes and the documents would be archived. So, all in all, the advantage of such a process is anytime you need to go back to your previous project execution, you can go back. There will be assets you can refer to and see what else we can do. Can we learn something from the failure of the projects? Can we execute it better the next time? Are there any lessons learned or best practices? So it will help us in continually improving the processes for project and program management. When you are setting up a PMO, it is very important for us to select the right kind of project management tool. There are many tools available in the market, but when you select a tool, you have to remember a few parameters against which you should do the evaluation. Does the tool do efficient budget tracking? Is the tool able to do WBS or the milestone tracking? WBS is the work breakdown structure. Can we report risks and issues through this tool? Can we create a status report through the tool and share it with all the stakeholders? Can we allocate tasks to resources through this tool and also see an overall availability of resources when we want to assign them tasks? That is, can we do the capacity allocation? Lastly, does this tool provide us sufficient amount of data in the form of a dashboard where we can see a cumulative status of all the projects in terms of whether they are adhering to the cost, are they on time, and are they on scope, which means is there a provision which the tool provides to track the change request as well. So, if you can evaluate the tools based on this criteria, in addition to the budget which your company allocates for this tool, you should be able to make a good decision on a good project management tool. I have used Clarity, I have used Microsoft Project, and I'm also aware of Jira. As project management tools, all of these tools are pretty efficient. Jira is being extensively used for projects that follow agile methodologies, and Microsoft Project is also pretty good. So you can look into these tools, plus there are several others which if you want to Google, I think you can also refer to the Gartner um, recommendation. If they have some good recommendations of good project management tools which might suit your purpose, you can use that. In the beginning of the session, I had mentioned that we need to be able to measure certain metrics to be able to improve. Now, what are these metrics that we need to measure for a project management deliverable? For each of the projects, we should know whether it was on time, whether it adhered to the cost, whether it was adhering to the scope, and how many post implementation defects do we have. For each project, if we measure this and then we do a quarterly analysis on these parameters for all the projects, we can see the overall health of the PMO. We can see whether we are doing good in some or all of these parameters and do a defect analysis of what are the things we need to improve, so that we can make our project management office a much better working unit. Anytime you're going to set up something new, there are going to be some challenges. Now, what are the challenges for setting up a PMO? First and foremost, we have to have a buy in at the leadership level. Our leadership needs to be convinced why we need the PMO and what are the benefits. A PMO always has the reputation of being administrative in terms of functionality, and anything administrative is seen as an overhead. So it's our responsibility to convince people saying that this is not an administrative function and we are ready to be flexible in terms of adapting the new processes and methods. You might need to go a bit slow in the initial stages because too much of processes might become an overhead for a team, especially the technical people who are also focusing on the technical needs of the project. Finally, the main thing which is important here is, as a PMO lead, if you are the person who's going to drive the project management office setup, you should be aware of all the intricacies of the project management and program management needs, the challenges, and the benefits. So you should have a very knowledgeable set of people who are part of the PMO and who can make things simpler rather than making complicated for the whole team. Remember one thing, we are working to make the processes simple so that our projects are executed smoothly and seamlessly. Coming to the next steps. Now that you are aware of why you need a PMO, what are the steps you need to follow to set up a project management office framework? What are the challenges you can expect? It is time for you to prepare an overall vision and roadmap for the PMO. Once you do that, you will need to share it with your leadership team and get their buy in. It is very important for you to get your leadership buy in before you start implementing the processes. Next in line to the leadership is your own team. You must share the vision you have with the team. Often at times I have seen that the team is the last person to get to know what is happening, and just before the processes will be executed, the team will get to know about it. So instead of giving them the last minute surprises, you might share your vision with the team. After these alignment are done, start creating your templates and documents which you want to be consistent across all the project managers working as part of the PMO. Create these templates and documents and store it in a central repository, whether it is the project management tool or some other repository which would be storing your documents. You will also need to create an awareness training with the team as to how to use this tool. The project management tool, as many of you will know, is used for allocating tasks to resources. So you will have to train the people and also the project managers as to how to use those tools. After these steps are done, you are almost ready to get started on your PMO. Decide on what methodology you want to choose and then get going. I hope this session has been useful to you. Again, this is just a high-level summary. If you need any more details, you can email us or visit our website. If you want any further details or if you have any queries, please reach us at trainingcrossroad@gmail.com. You can visit our website at www.trainingcrossroad.com to see our project management documents, templates, videos, and blogs.